Hi, Tyrese, all the way in the back, Malika Andrews, ESPN. The only lead change of the entire game was your game winner, and they say one time is luck, two times is a habit, three times it's the truth. So what's the fourth time that you're able to take control of a game like that in the NBA Finals?
I don't know. I think we're just really resilient group. We just do a great job of just sticking in and just settling into the game. And through the course of the game, it kept getting, it felt like it could get ugly. It could, who knows where this game is heading. I thought we did a great job of just walking them down. When it gets to 15, you can panic, or you can talk about how do we get it to 10, how do we get it to 5, and from there. So, I think all series, that's what we've preached as a group is, when we get down big, let's just find a way to incrementally get it down. And it was at 15, and we got it to 8 pretty fast, and that gave us confidence. We kept getting stops, Miles and Andrew made big play after big play down the stretch. Miles got a wide open look on the wing, missed that one, but we just stuck with it. Andrew was huge down the stretch, and we got a big stop there, and they got a lot of confidence in me to make that shot. So I don't know what you say about it. I just know that this group is a resilient group, and we don't give up till it's zero on the clock. I had a pretty good idea. Yeah.
Over here on the right.
Tyrese, Rick mentioned that you guys huddled up during the challenge there and just basically said, we get a stop here, we're going to go. Just one, how much confidence and faith do you have in those situations to not necessarily need a timeout to stop? And then was that a spot on the floor that you sort of were trying to get to? We normally kind of see you go to that middle of the floor, little lane there.
Yeah, I think our conversation was more of a hypothetical because we thought Pascal got fouled there. I was surprised there wasn't a call there. We didn't really know. With time on the clock, we saw a reset to 14 rather than a full shot clock. So at first we were talking about, do we trap twice and foul? And then we said, okay, there's difference on the clock. Let's just be solid, get a stop, and then rebound and run. And, Obi came up with it. I don't even know who came up with the rebound. I just know the ball ended up in Obi's hands, and then he passed it to me. So I thought we just did a great job of sticking with it and just, staying solid. In that situation, we had a couple dumb fouls. I had a couple dumb fouls there late in the fourth, sent him to the free throw line. But we just, showed our chest. We're solid. Had to get a big rebound there. That's a big rebound, especially with the guys on the court they have with Dort and Caruso crashing the glass. And, we got the rebound and just made a play on the offensive side. So, I'm obviously confident in my ability and feel like if I can get to, that spot, I feel very comfortable in there. It's a shot I've worked on a million times, and I'll work on a million times more. So, we just have confidence in that shot.
First row on the left.
Ty, you guys turn it over 25 times. Shea goes for 38. This team is 36-1 in this building with a 15-point lead this year. Like, this is not the formula to win a game. And then some guys don't have these moments once in a lifetime. You've had 4 in 6 weeks. What is the secret sauce? Where is this coming from this group? And you can say you believe, and obviously you do, but it seems like the belief is much higher in this group than it is in probably a lot of other groups over the last few years.
Yeah, it's a great question. The secret sauce today was these, but no, I'm just playing. But I think as a group, like I've said many times, after you have a run like last year, and then you get swept in the Eastern Conference Finals, and all the conversation is about is how you don't belong there, and how you lucked out to get there, and that it was a fluke. Guys are going to be pissed off. We're going to spend the summer pissed off. And then you come into the year with all the talk around how it was a fluke. You have an unsuccessful first couple months, and now that's easy for everybody to clown you and talk about you in a negative way. And I think as a group, we take everything personal. Like as a group, it's not just me, it's everybody. I feel like that's the DNA of this group. And that's not just me, that's our coaching staff does a great job of making us aware of what's being said. Us as players, we talk about it in the locker room, we talk about it on the plane. We're a young team, so we probably spend more time on social media than we should. But I just think we do a great job of taking things personal. And that gives this group more confidence, and we turned things around in January, which you guys know, and we just stuck with it. And I'm really proud of this group, and we just all got each other's back at every point. Any negative thing that's said about anybody, we got full belief in each other. And so the more that's talked about, like right now we're whatever underdog that gives us more confidence as a group. We enjoy that, but there's still a lot of work to be done. This is an exciting time. Again, another big comeback, but there's a lot more work to do. That's just one game, and this is the best team in the NBA. And like you said, they don't lose often, so we expect them to respond, and we got to be prepared for that. We got a couple of days to watch film, see where we can get better. This game, if you look at all the numbers, it's not the recipe to win. We can't turn the ball over that much. We got to do a better job of being in gaps. Got to do a better job of rebounding. Got to do a better job all over the floor. But come May and June, it doesn't matter how you get them, just get them. So we'll take it. We'll enjoy this one tonight. But understand we got another game coming up in this tough building, and we got to be prepared for that. So, like I said, we're just a confident group. We got each other's back, and we'll give up to the clock at 0. I really don't have like the full answer. I can't tell you everything that. Yeah. So I said a lot of words, but I don't know if I said anything. But yeah, we stick with it.
All right, Vincent, first row on the left.
Right here, Tyrese. At what point tonight did you guys collectively believe that you could win this game? Was it when you were throwing the ball all over the place, but you weren't getting blown out? Was it early in the fourth quarter when you guys start to make a little bit of a run? What was the point where you were like, oh, this game is not just competitive, we can steal this game?
It's a good question. When I got off the bus, when I put on my shoes, there was never a disbelief as a group, honestly. You have a half like that where you're just throwing the ball to the other team, and we like chaos, we like controlled chaos, but that was just chaos, just ugly. But I think we as a group came and said, hey, we got felt like we had 20 turnovers in the first half. We only gave up, I don't even remember how many points, I think it was 9. Yeah, that's not that bad, if you think of it that way, try to look at it glass half full. But I think as a group, we never think the game is over, ever. Honestly speaking, ever. That never creeps in. I think we just keep talking as a group is how can we walk this team down. So it's at 12 going into halftime. We talk about if we can win 1 quarter by 6, 1 quarter by 7, we'll be in a great spot. We got it to a 6-point game at the end of this third quarter, and Shea hit a 3. But we liked where we were. And then they went on a big run to start the fourth, and we just say, okay, it's at 15, let's get it to 10. Well, we got it to 8, they called timeout. So we just stay with it. So this group never gives up. We never believe that the game is over until it hits 0, and that's just the God honest truth. That's just the confidence that we have as a group, and I think that's a big reason why this is going on.
Second row here on the right.
Tyrese, you guys, or your teammates, have extreme confidence in you with the game on the line because of what's happened the last couple of years. I wonder what your confidence is in Drew defensively in similar situations, guarding the MVP most of the time without much help the whole night, and you need to get a stop to have a chance to win the game.
Yeah, appreciate you for asking that question. I got the utmost confidence in him. We all do as a group. We have to. He's our guy. He's been our guy all year. If there wasn't the 65-game rule, he's an all-defensive guy. Plain and simple. So we got the most trust in him. We'll keep. Shea is the hardest guard in the NBA. He's the hardest guy to cover one-on-one in the NBA. So there's no one look we can give him. That is going to be. That's going to work every time. But we trust Drew in those situations. We're showing help as much as we can. But he's doing a lot of the dirty work. He's done a lot of the dirty work for years now, and that's his calling card in this league. And he's an elite defender. So Shea's not an easy cover by any means, but Drew is just doing an unbelievable job of. You gotta understand, Shea makes a lot of tough shots, and you can't overreact to them. You just can't, because there's no way to live that way. I think if he's gonna make those, you got to just get the ball out and go right back at him. So that's the way we look at it. And I thought Drew did a great job tonight. Aaron did a good job when Shep had to guard him. There's many situations where different guys are having to cover him. We're just trying to make it as tough as we can. The guy still finished with, what do you guys say, 38? Yeah. That's unbelievable. But I thought we just did a great job of showing bodies, and that starts with Drew and his persistence over 48 minutes. So, it's his calling card, and we got the utmost trust in him to get stops.
Last question, first row on the left.
You guys have been in crazy environments before. Your last series, this
Yeah.
was one of them, and it's the finals. Most of you guys haven't been in this position before. Did the moment lead to any jitters? Do you think that could have been part of the turnover situation?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't. I felt like I was a little jittery in the first quarter, getting off the ball quick, flying off ball screens with no real setup. I felt that myself, so I'll admit that I felt that way. So I'm sure other guys felt that way. I mean, this crowd is amazing. They're all standing up, doing claps and synchronized clapping to the beat before the game. I mean, this is an unbelievable crowd. It's the best crowd we've seen on the road all playoffs. And, it felt like it was just us in there, I mean, thankful for our organization for flying, our families out, and our full-time employees all got a chance to come. And I've been shown videos of them in the concourse, and I saw them on the upper level after the game. But out there, it's so loud in there. It really just feels like it's us in there, and we just do a great job of leaning on each other, understanding that this crowd and this environment is amazing. They love basketball here, similar to how it is in Indiana. And now that we've got a game under our belt, and I thought we did a great job of responding in the second half. We didn't turn the ball over as much in the second half. That's more of a recipe for success for us in the next game. So, that's going to be a big point of emphasis, when we watch films. How can we take care of the ball more, get more shots on the rim? That puts us in a better position to win. I mean, you have 25 turnovers. Usually don't win those games. The odds probably are really low. So we just got to stick with it, stay confident as a group, and, we'll look forward to game 2.
Thank you, Tyrese.
Appreciate it.
With Tim.
Tim Reynolds, AP. Rick, you guys have obviously made a habit of these incredible last-second events throughout this postseason. How, in a building where this team does not give up leads like that, where did you guys find the wherewithal to pull this one off?
Just had to hang in. The first half was rough. 19 turnovers. The good thing was it was only 9 points, and so we were within reach of still being in the game. I think we won the third quarter by 3, which was progress. And then they went up 15, and we just said, hey, let's just keep chipping away at the rock. Got to keep pounding the rock, and just chip away and hang in. And we've had a lot of experience in these kinds of games, and our guys have a real good feel for what it's all about, giving ourselves a chance, and we got fortunate, but made plays.
Right here in the front.
Scott Agnes, Fieldhouse Files. Rick, take us through kind of the locker room after the game, the message, because you want to enjoy it, but you also quickly have to move on to the next one.
Yeah, we haven't been celebrating a whole lot with anything, really, and that's some of that is our experience last year. So some of it is Pascal having been through this kind of a run and getting to the finals before. We know we have a lot of work to do, and we have to play a lot better. I mean, 19 turnovers and a half is, if it's not a record for the finals, it's got to be up there, close to it. And so, and they're a menace, defensively. And we too often took it into crowds, and then other times they just take the ball out of your hands. I mean, it's just the level of their defense is crazy good. So, but to answer your question, a real even temper after the game, and now there's two days between the first 2 games. Instead of a 13-day series, which we had with New York, this is day 1 of 17 days. So this is going to be a long journey and a lot going on, and so we're just going to have to keep our eye on the ball and keep focusing on one another.
Steve, right here in the front.
Rick, besides taking better care of the basketball, what went on in the locker room at halftime? It seemed like you guys might have figured something out or wanted to approach things differently than that first half.
Well, there were different areas. I mean, they were getting to the rim a lot in the first half. The turnovers were the first thing that we talked about. It seemed like we were doing a good job on the boards, but they had 20 more shots than we did in the first half. And so, that was really fool's gold too. And so look, it was just, hit the reset button. Let's go whistle to whistle in the third quarter, try to chip away at it and try to hang in.
Mark here, right in the front of the right.
I know you're being cool, hand Luke right now and all that, but at any point did you say, "Damn, that was a hell of a comeback"?
No. Listen, been through too much of this, over the years, and we've just got to be very much present in the moment and understand what this is all about. This is all about keeping poise, and at the same time having a high level of aggression, and those two forces fly in the face of each other a bit. And look, this arena is madness. I mean, this is. I don't know. From a road perspective, the decibels were insane, and so, it's there's a lot going on. Grateful to have the chance to hang in and give ourselves a chance at the end, but now we've got to, keep our eye on the ball.
Over here on the right.
Rick, Nembhard's play the last few minutes, not just the shots, but the defense. What was he able to do to kind of keep you guys connected and give you guys a chance to take it at the end?
Well, he made big plays at both ends. The one stop on Shea at the end was a big play, and then we got the rebound. There was the step back three, which was a big momentum play. I think it went from 6 to 3. And then there was an and one where we got to the rim. I don't know what point it was in the fourth, but, a lot of big plays. And, you got to have playmakers against Oklahoma City. I mean, they just they make it so difficult defensively.
Right here on the right.
Rick, it looked like during that review, the Siakam out of bounds review, the guys were huddling up right before the ruling came down. I'm going to assume that you kind of gave them directive on how to play the next possession if it didn't go in your favor. How comfortable were you in not calling a timeout in that situation and letting Tyrese just go spread floor?
Yeah, that's very. I mean, we talked about it. We still didn't know the outcome of the challenge yet, but we said if it is their ball, let's get the stop. There's going to be a difference in the shot clock and the game clock. And if we get a stop and get the rebound, we're going to go. We're going to go, and hopefully get the ball in Tyrese's hands and look to make a play. So all that worked out. I mean, the Nembhard play to stay in front of Shea was a huge play. I think I don't know if Neesmith or Obi got the rebound. I haven't looked at it yet, but we were able to get the ball into Ty's hands, and he made the shot.
Middle row on the left, Joe.
Hey, Rick. Joe Varden, The Athletic. After game one in New York, Tyrese told this cool story about you guys would put the ball in his hands, and he was younger, and you guys weren't very good to work on maybe one day being in these kinds of moments. And now that it's worked out, not just once, not just twice, but 3 times in the end of these playoff games where he wins it with the shot, what's it like for you to watch him at the end of these games, just sort of knowing the investments that you guys made years ago?
Well, getting to this point is a long process, and you make a trade for a player like that 3.5 years ago, whatever it was. You look at the present, but you look toward the future, and the hope was that we could build quickly. Kevin and Chad did a great job with surrounding Ty with the right guys, and then getting Pascal last year was reverential for our team, and we just try to get the ball in his hands as much as possible in those situations. And when it doesn't happen, we've got Nembhard and we've got Pascal, and that gives us 3 playmakers, in our closing group. So, all 3 of them do great things. So we were very fortunate tonight, but we did a lot of things to give ourselves a chance, and that was very good.
All right, last question here on the right.
Hey, Rick, Valencia King, Real Talk Sports. Appreciate your time. One of the pillars you've said this team is built on is tenacity. From a coach's perspective, does it rejuvenate your coaching energy when you see this team continue to be resilient night in and night out?
My coaching energy's fine. But look, it's a group I love. It's a group that we've invested a lot in. How we were going to draft, who we were going to draft, development. This year especially is a year that I'm proud of from a coaching perspective because, not only did we win enough games to, get into the top four, but we're still developing players, Walker played 11 or 1,200 minutes. Mathurin played over 2,000, started 48 games. And look, Oklahoma City's doing it before everybody's eyes. They've been a development machine here over the last 5 years since Mark's been the coach. So, from those perspectives, this series is it has a lot of intrigue and should for the fans.
Thank you.
Hi, Alena from NBA Brazil. So big change from first half to second half. Can you take me through the messages that were sent in the locker room, and did somebody step up to keep you guys going?
Well, obviously we know we turned the ball over way too much. It's just not who we are. But credit to the defense, they, just on another level in terms of just disrupting the game and make you make mistakes and stuff. So we got to take care of the ball. And I think in the second half, we just kind of did a better job of just taking care of the ball a little bit. And again, they made some tough plays, and we just kept going. We like I said, we always know that we have a chance. So as long as we just keep playing, but they play so good and just in defensively, and they're such a tough team for sure.
Second row, fourth Terran from the right.
Pascal, Guilherme Sacco from ESPN Brazil. This is one of the loudest arenas in NBA, but sometimes in the fourth quarter we could hear "Go Pacers, go!" and they chant in defense when you guys were defending. How much does it mean to know that even when in one of the loudest arenas in NBA, you still have the Pacers faithful here and you can hear them?
Yeah, that was huge. Shout out to those guys, man. Just they're so passionate about us, and we're so blessed to have them as fans, and all the people that were here just cheering us on, and in such a tough environment. But yeah, shout out to them. We're gonna need their support, obviously here, and then also when we're at home.
Second row to the left, Joe.
Hey, Pascal, you guys have had so many comebacks in this postseason, and it's a number of different ways, but was there anything to tonight? You're turning the ball over 19 times in the first half, but you weren't really down by, I think it was only 12. Was there a realization that you were still close despite those turnovers, and did that give you a little confidence?
Obviously, I think when you turn the ball that much, you expect to be down 20 plus. So the fact that we were still in the game, just for us is just again we know that. If we keep it within distance, continue to play, stick to the game plan, and take care of the turnovers, which is hard against a team like that, especially with the pace we play with. So we gotta do so much better. We know we're near where we need to be in terms of just offense and some of the things that we need to do and how we want to play. So we got a lot of work to do. We got to get back and get better.
Over here on the right.
Valérie Rubino, CineWeb, guys, excuse my French. Pascal, tu as déjà gagné avec Toronto. Et maintenant, qu'est-ce que ça rend cette expérience avec ce groupe très jeune, si spécial? Et maintenant, tu es presque un vétéran, un nouveau leader.
Ouais, ça fait plaisir donc d'avoir l'opportunité d'être un leader dans une équipe de jeunes et le fait que j'ai déjà eu à jouer dans le NBA Finals, ça m'aide vraiment et je peux apporter cette expérience à mon équipe. Mais on a une très bonne équipe et tout le monde joue ensemble et à la fin, c'est une très bonne expérience et on espère être victorieux.
Et la balle commence sa phase finale maintenant en Afrique du Sud. Qu'est-ce que tu penses de ce que l'NBA est en train de faire en Afrique pour le développement des talents locaux?
Ah ouais, ça fait plaisir d'avoir des organisations comme la BAL et de pouvoir voir comment le basket au Cameroun, pas au Cameroun, en Afrique, bien sûr au Cameroun évolue. Et la NBA, ils font un très beau boulot par rapport à ça. Et je suis très content que je puisse être une personne qui puisse pousser le basket en Afrique. Et bon, j'espère que ça va continuer et que des années à venir, on aura beaucoup plus d'autres basketteurs africains qui seront en NBA et que le basket en Afrique soit encore plus développé.
First row here, that's it.
Pascal, Filtro 360, Puerto Rico. Take us through the process since you guys arrived here in the building earlier today, coming from a hostile crowd in New York, now here in the Paycom Center, loud building here tonight. How did you guys manage the mental part of the game, stayed focused, and came out with a W with a 24 turnovers game tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, it's a tough environment. The fans are incredible. I mean, sometimes out there it's hard to hear anything. But I think for us, we've been in a lot of tough environments, and we try to kind of use that experience and the fact that we've been in those situations before to try to settle us down. And I think early in the game it was just so loud and but I thought we settled into the game and we started playing our game a little bit more. But again, like I said, we have so much work to do and we got to get so much better just because we didn't play to the level that we thought we could play.
Thank you. 2 more questions for Pascal. Anyone? All right, thanks everybody.
Oh yeah.
All right, second row, we'll start here.
Hi, Miles. Guilherme Saco from ESPN Brazil. We talk a lot about the Pacers offense and how you guys are explosive and all. But this tonight, you only conceded 2 points in the last 2 minutes. How proud are you of the defensive effort in the last minutes of the team?
Our defense is something that we decided to hang our hat on about 1.5 years ago. We knew we had to, if we ever wanted to be on this stage, it's something we had to tune up. So I think we did a good job in the last closing moments, but we still got a lot of work to do. And, even myself, I know I made a lot of mistakes tonight, but, that's the beauty of being on the stage. Once you make a mistake, you got to move right on because, it's just the game just moves so fast.
Last row.
Hey, Miles. Derek Kramer, iPacers.com. Can you just tell me about the importance of Obi Toppin in this game? 17 points off the bench, 5 threes.
Man, it's just his confidence never shook. He started the game off with like 2 or 3 turnovers and whatnot, and he was able to make an impact. I think he started hit a couple threes right after that. Defensively, he was moving his feet. He's able to get out and run. So, he's someone that's very important, to our system. But I think it was a huge confidence boost for him, especially, game 1.
Right here in the first row on the right.
Steve Ashburner, NBA.com. Knowing what you knew about Oklahoma City coming in and their defense and their propensity to force turnovers, by the end of that first half, were you guys disappointed in yourselves, more stunned at how that had gone in giving up the ball?
Absolutely not. You just said it. We knew what this team was. I think that on this stage, you don't have time to be stunned. You don't have time to be disappointed. Again, you have to move on. We came in there knowing that we can be better. And, again, it's probably historically bad. I'm not sure what the record is, but, we weathered the storm. We were resilient and, we were able to find a way to win in the end.
First row here on the left, Tim.
Thank you. Miles, some guys might get one of those shots in a lifetime. Ty's had 4 in these playoffs in the last 1.4 or whatever. What's it been like to witness, and how do you explain it as somebody who's seen a lot in this league, what he does in that moment?
Ultimate confidence in himself. And that is so, some players will say they have it, but there's other players that show it. And, he's going to let you know about it too. That's one of the things I respect about him. He's just he's a baller, man. He's a hooper. He's just really just a gamer. When it comes to them moments, like he wants the ball. He wants to be the one to, hit that shot. He doesn't shy away from the moment. And very important this time of the year, to have a go-to guy. And he just seems to keep finding a way. And we keep getting the ball in the right positions. And just the rest is history.
Right in the middle.
Miles Minor Castillo desde la cancha. Would you like to have more touches in the low post, like a traditional pivot for the game 2?
I think for the way our offense is structured, it's 0.5 seconds. You see it, you have a decision, you try to make a decision. If you're not, you come off it. So, of course, I'm be down there battling and whatnot, but I also know that, when I'm facing the ball, there's 2 guys behind me at times, so I'm not seeing it's there. So I'm very patient with our offense. I think, the only thing I said was just stop throwing me bounce passes because, that's the only place, these guards can get the ball. So outside of that, nah, man, I think our team did a good job of making reads tonight and we continue to keep, rolling.
Last row.
Miles, Andrew Greif with NBC News. You kind of mentioned earlier that you guys felt like after 19 first half turnovers, something changed and it wasn't maybe dramatic, but can you be a little more specific about to go from 19 in the first half to only 2 in the third quarter? Was there something you felt like you guys as a team did better at stopping what Oklahoma City was doing with the physicality, or how do you explain just the difference there?
Just valuing possessions. I think that obviously this time of the year is so important. That this is a 1-point game tonight, so those possessions matter so much. I think our biggest thing is our response. You know what I mean? Like, we know things are going to go bad at times, things are going to go good, but you got to be even killed. Just Kaizen, just calm waters. You know what I mean? You just, to answer your question, I think that we just knew we had to value the ball a lot more. We started to put two hands, 2 eyes on the ball, whoever passing it, started to keep the ball high. Just all the elementary stuff. Sometimes that's what it's about in this game, is going back to fundamentals. So, yeah, chin on the ball, little stuff like that.
Second row in the middle.
Jordan Davis with Oklahoma. And Miles, you obviously had some struggles in there in the first half, but then in the second half, you had 2 big threes, late down the stretch in the fourth quarter. I mean, what was kind of the keys to get you going that whole second half on both ends of the floor? And obviously, what was your biggest takeaway from what you were able to do there?
Confidence. Supreme confidence in myself. I've worked my entire life to get to this stage, so there's no holding back. When I saw opportunities, I was going to be as aggressive as possible. And, I was able to hit, 2 big shots, or whatever you want to call it. It's just supreme confidence in myself.
Second row here on the right.
Miles, you guys never get too high, never get too low. How much of that comes from Rick, and just where does that mentality come from?
A lot of it does come from Rick. He instills it in us. I think he's one of the better coach. He's not like a rah-rah guy, but like his speeches and stuff, just his preparation, gets us in tune. I think I like his overall mentality, when it comes to getting us prepared for moments like such. And that's what this time of the year is about. Someone who's actually been there before, 6 times to be exact.
First row here in the middle.
Brad Parker, The Score. Miles, you put out that tweet nearly 12 years ago to the day saying, "What if the Pacers win it all?"
Yeah.
How does it feel you're 3 games away from potentially, being correct with that tweet?
You're one step closer. It's a funny thing, when stuff like that happens. I remember I was watching that series against the Heat and whatnot, and they were playing really well, and they were my favorite team in 2K at the time. So I wanted it for them, but we have a lot of work to do, man. Again, we're one step closer. It feels good to get the first one underneath your belt, because now you have a baseline, you can make adjustments, and do what you got to do.
Over here on the right.
Miles, I know you all have supreme confidence whenever Ty gets the ball late game situations. How similar is your confidence when Drew's guarding the MVP one-on-one with no help with the game on the line?
Yeah, no, it helps that they're Canadian teammates. So, I think that Drew has probably seen a little bit of what, Shea can do. And at the end of the day, man, we have, again, just ultimate confidence to go out there and just, be him and hit a big shot, had a big stop, and, he's continuing to put himself on the map.
Thanks, Miles.
Sits back there. What you got?
Hey, Valencia King, Real Talk Sports, appreciate your time.
Mm-hmm.
So you've mentioned your confidence and you mentioned the defense on this team, and I won't take you back too far, but do you remember when you fell in love with being a defensive player? Because we've seen it throughout your whole career.
Yeah, man, my pops, he always told me that's what you're going to be able to make your bread and butter on. Is he saw an elite timing. Back when I played YMCA basketball. When they give you like those wristbands, you have to be with someone. What the other team would do is have their kids stand at half court, so I had to stand with him, and it used to frustrate the hell out of me. But from that moment on, he was like, "Yo, listen, man, this is what you're going to make your mark off of." And timing. I think shot blocking is it's something that's it's innate, it's given. I don't think you can really learn it. It's just either you have it or you don't. So. Yeah, I think I really fell in love with defense really back in the YMCA days, just seeing how much of an imprint I was leaving on the game. And, my dad just spoke a lot into existence.
Thanks, Miles.
All right, thank you.